May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to Quant-in-a-Box Daily. Today is Friday, December 30th. This is the last day of the year in terms of us meeting up and discussing macroeconomic and technical opportunities in the Forex market. So I hope this year has been amazing for you, and I hope you're looking forward to next year. Thank you for joining me as we've delved into Quant-in-a-Box, married that with technicals, and identified opportunities to make money. What is Quant-in-a-Box, you ask? Well, Quant-in-a-Box is your global macroeconomic quant-in-a-box. It's a beautiful tool that gives you access to a number of fundamental and quantitative analytical tools which help you identify fundamental bias, marry that with technical bias, and get an edge in the market. It's a beautiful tool. It takes a lot of the legwork out of formulating a bias in the market and identifying what is weak and what is strong. And if you'd like to give it a bash, it's just $7.90 for a 1-week trial. Very, very cool. We've been using it since the start of this channel, and it's something we'll continue using because this is Quant-in-a-Box Daily. What did we do yesterday? So yesterday we looked at our market heat map. We looked at currencies that were moving higher or moving lower. We then jumped into the charts and we saw, was there an opportunity for us to continue those trades, or alternatively, had price moved up so we could sell it, or had price moved down so we could buy it? Now, yesterday we looked specifically at the yens, and we were specifically paying attention to euro yen. We were looking at the situation yesterday. We said, right, so Kiwi yen for risk off, or euro yen for risk on. And the idea was that you were looking for a higher high, higher low if on euro yen. If that presented itself, then we would have gone into risk on. And if you saw a lower low, lower high on Kiwi yen, you would have taken that for risk off. So in terms of the euro yen, you can see here, in terms of yesterday's London session, let's take a look. The only reason why we did the risk on, risk off play was because at the time of yesterday's session, all of our indices were down, and we had risk off during Asia. So the question was, were we going to continue having risk off into the session? Now, yesterday, price came up, all right, and let's look at an M15 chart. So price came up, then price broke this support. You can see here, this is the support you would have been using. So price came up, price broke that support, which you wouldn't have bought. Price came up, price didn't come and close this support, and price then broke that support. So on euro yen, you would have been like, okay, no opportunity. Fantastic. On your Kiwi yen, however, let's get our zones over here. Price broke out of this range, and the instruction was, if price pulls back up to the bottom of this range, pay attention to that and potentially take a sell. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, you can see here price breaks out of the range, price pulls back up into the bottom of the range. Looking at M15 time frame, you can see it here. Okay, now if you took the trade over here, you can see with the 21 EMA and you had a 50 pip stop, you were totally fine. It pulled back up a bit, which is why you wouldn't have had a tight stop on that, and then price dropped. So that technique we used with Quant-in-a-Box worked quite nicely. What we basically did was we look at the market heat map, we then married that with the overall fundamental bias for the particular currency pair, and then looked to see if we could continue with that trade, or if we were presented with the opportunity to take a trade in the opposite direction. Now, of course, all the yen pairs are currently neutral. So let's say, for example, all the yen pairs were fundamentally bearish, and we'd seen all the yen pairs down for Asia. Well, then we would have waited for a pullback and taken a sell. The beautiful thing about the Kiwi yen yesterday is Kiwi yen was all the way up here. It was the one yen pair that was just the best setup for us. So all the other yen pairs were at support. Okay, so you got to also marry stuff with technicals, otherwise it doesn't work. Now, excuse me, we're going to do the exact same thing. You can see here on our market heat map, all our indices up for the Asia session, all our yen pairs down for the Asia session. So that plan worked yesterday. And what I want to focus on more than did you get the trade? Didn't you get the trade? That's not the point. The point is this is a very useful tool in Quant-in-a-Box because this updates on the regular. Okay, if I refresh this page in 15 minutes, the details will change. So what you want to do is you want to focus on using this as you go into market opens and do it again at New York and again at Asia. All right, so you're sort of setting up plans for your market open. Now, because all the yen pairs are currently down, you can see Swiss franc, Japanese yen, euro yen, Kiwi yen are the biggest losers. Let's go take a look and see, do the yen pairs present any opportunities? Now, of course, we know that our yen pairs are all neutral. We looked at this yesterday. So what's nice is you can look at your market heat map, go through the currencies that are up or down, and then jump into your overall biases and see if you've got anything over here. So ideally, what we'd really like is we'd love to see price moving up with an overall bias of bearish, because that means that price is making a pullback, looking for resistance, and then we can sell that. Or price is moving down with an overall bias of bullish. That means price is pulling back, looking for support, so we can buy it in the direction of the overall bias. Unfortunately, the yen pairs are all neutral. Well, it is that time of the year, right? But still, it's a good strategy. It's a good way of using this tool. So let's go through the yen pairs quickly. Everything's down. So you can see let's just go through it piece by piece. So in terms of our Aussie yen, we didn't choose to trade this one yesterday. We left this one alone, okay? And it looks like that was a good decision, okay? And right now, I'm not seeing any great opportunities for buying or selling. I'm not seeing price at resistance. Again, you got to marry the technicals. You can't just say that Quant-in-a-Box says it's bearish and so therefore you sell. You have to marry it technically, okay? This is just a fundamental bias. So that means that if something is very bullish, it doesn't mean that it's bullish right now. Or something is very bearish, it doesn't mean it's bearish right now. And again, remember, we're using the market heat map, so our overall bias of the yen pairs is neutral. We're going to take a look at the pound pairs in a second, the euro pairs in a second, but for now, let's have a gander at the yen pairs. So Aussie yen, not a massive mover. Okay, I'm not looking at the H4 time frame. I'm not seeing a place where I can pull back to resistance or come back down to support. You got this level over here, but it doesn't look like a nice moving chart. Looks pretty low volatility. Looking at CAD yen, same thing. We also didn't trade CAD yen yesterday for the same reasons. Look, okay, euro yen we've looked at. Okay, euro yen we didn't look at some selling yesterday because it was at support at London. If you sold it at New York, I still said to you guys yesterday, like if price could pull back up to resistance and you could then sell that, beautiful. So if you sold yesterday at New York, well, there was your second trade. You could have confirmed that euro yen wasn't presenting bullishness. Price came up to close a resistance, and then you could have gotten to a sell. Okay, beautiful. Pound yen, quite a nice move on pound yen. However, yesterday at London, we were at support, so we left this one alone. And then, of course, Kiwi yen price pulling back on the H1 at the bottom of that range. You can see here, even on the H4 time frame, look at that, closed that resistance there. You can see price came down, price came up. So the move didn't really happen at London. The move actually happened at New York. Okay. So if you were patient, you waited for that, then good for you. Now, in terms of where we are with other pairs, let's take a look at the pound pairs. So pound CAD down, pound dollar down, euro pound down, pound Aussie down, pound Swissy down. So there's a consistent pattern here with the pound pairs. Let's take a look at those. Now, we can also look at our overall bias. So pound CAD, let's go to our crosses over here. Pound CAD coming through neutral. Okay. Pound dollar. It's coming through the sell. So continued bearishness. What I would love to see is pound dollar being bullish with an overall bearish bias, because then that means price is pulling back to resistance. Okay, but that's fine. We'll see if we've got any opportunities here. Euro pound. Okay, euro pound coming through the buy. Okay, that's one of those examples. So if euro pound is bearish and we've got an overall buy, then has price come down to support where I can buy it and exercise the overall fundamental bias? We'll take a look at that now. Pound Aussie, neutral. Pound Swissy, sell. Okay, so continuation of bias. So pound dollar, pound Aussie being the same. And then pound Swissy, that was pound Swissy, sorry. So pound dollar and pound Swissy the same. Let's look at those now. So let's go through pound CAD. Pound CAD, one of the biggest losers for the session. Pound CAD. Okay, so pound CAD we can see has been moving down. Okay. Could we continue moving down? So is there a potential scalp here? Now, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the 4-hour candle. I'd like to see this candle close at resistance. Go back to your yen yesterday and go and look at what made that work. So what made euro yen work? Price came up and closed at resistance before your New York session, and you would have sold. Look at your Kiwi yen. Kiwi yen, price came up and closed at resistance, and then you would have sold. So we want the same thing on our pound CAD. So looking at pound CAD right now, you can see this 4-hour candle is not close to resistance. Okay, cool. We got a neutral bias on this. What I would like to have seen is the 4-hour candle coming up and closing at resistance. You can see kind of like this candle over here. Look at this beautiful candle next to it. Okay, coming up and closing at resistance. Price breaks support, support becomes resistance, and then you would have sold. But unfortunately, right now, that's not the case. Okay, if you're insisting on the fact that you can sell that, then you're looking for lower lows and lower highs M15. But again, what I would rather do is, if you're looking for that, is trap price in this range and do the exact same thing you did yesterday with Kiwi yen. Wait for price to break out, wait for price to pull back in, and then if you get that, you could sell that, right? So that's one of the things you can put on your watch list. But ultimately, let's see if we get anything better. So the next currency, pound dollar. Now, you've been watching the dollar pairs, you know that these guys are just chilling, right? So you can see they're stuck inside that range and leave that alone completely. Although one thing you could say is, hold on a second, what about the 4-hour candle? So daily candle, we've closed at resistance, top of the range, but the problem is you've got this over here at the bottom, okay? Look at that narrow range. So yes, we have got price closing at resistance. Yes, we do have price coming off this 21 EMA, absolutely 100%. Fully agree with you. Your 4-hour candle hasn't closed the resistance though, okay? So let's see if we can find something better than that. All right, so euro pound. Now, euro pound overall bias is bullish. Okay. Oops. That's not a great place for a buy. Okay. Not in a great place for a buy. So we'll leave that alone. Now, of course, what you might say is, oh, technically, I'm at a monthly M4. Can I sell this? And not just monthly M4, you're at resistance. Okay. Can I sell this? Well, try and focus on your fundamental bias. The fact is, euro pound is bullish. You know, you could wait for a change technically and then confirm that change fundamentally. But ultimately, what we're looking for right now is not changes. We're looking for trades that we can continue with or trade in that same direction. So pound Aussie. Okay, pound Aussie, continued bearishness. I'm seeing a 4-hour candle closing down. I'll leave that one alone. Pound Swissy. Okay, also very, very low. 4-hour candle closing down. All right, so those pairs have moved down. They have not presented us with the opportunities we're looking for. That's okay. We move on. So our yen pairs aren't giving us anything that we can continue selling. Okay. Our pound pairs aren't giving us anything we continue selling. Let's take a look at our euro pairs. So euro Aussie. Neutral. Then our euro Swissy or euro CAD. Neutral. Euro Swissy. We've got neutral. Okay. Euro dollar. Neutral. Oh, yeah, boy. Okay, let's take a look. Euro dollar. Now, euro dollar, you can see here, daily candle coming up, closing top of the range. Okay. From an H4 perspective, though, we don't have the lower low, lower high. maybe paying attention to that. That plays into our dollar play for the end of the year. I'm looking for dollar strength as we go into January. Well, I'm looking for it. I'm saying, like, that's usually what happens. So we'll see if we get that. But in terms of our next euro pair, that wasn't very helpful. Let's go to Euro Aussie, Euro CAD, and Euro Swissy. So Euro Aussie, where are you? Euro Aussie. Yeah, I'm not seeing opportunity there. Okay, cool. Euro CAD. Nope, not right now for London anyway, right? Okay, cool. And Euro Swissy. Have a look at Euro Swissy. No. Okay. This is good though, because what it means is that if we're not getting any opportunities here, we're not going to lose any money, right? That's a good idea. So in terms of strong, we could take a quick gander at Aussie Kiwi. It's all the way up here. Let's look at our overall bias for Aussie Kiwi. Strong sell. Okay, cool. So strong sell Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi currently coming up. So that means potentially coming up to resistance. Let's take a look. Okay. Now we've got something that's a little bit more interesting. From a daily perspective, we haven't really closed the resistance in the daily time frame. Daily's not looking very bearish technically. In terms of the 4-hour chart, we have got this over here. Okay. I mean, not the most amazing resistance, but this is sideways. You are top of the range, so potentially an opportunity to take this down to the bottom of the range. Okay. Let's have a look at that. So what could we do? Could we just jump in here and say, all right, we add a DM4. That's pretty cool. So what we're looking for, let's take our 4-hour. Let's grab this over here. Okay. And let's recognize this is a range. So on the M15 time frame, pretty easy, right? So what we're looking for here is, because of the fact that we've got a strong sell on this pair and we're currently high, that's a nice place to be. We'd like to see price break support and support become resistance. That's it. So we trap that price and recognize that right now it is not bearish, and we wait for price to become bearish. Now, could that be now? Could it be towards New York? We're not too sure, but at least we've got one trade on our watch list, okay? One trade on our watch list. We're looking for bearishness on Aussie Kiwi. All right, that's cool. So next, Aussie Swissy. Let's take a look at Aussie Swissy. So Aussie Swissy over here. We've got a sell. Okay, so it's another case of Aussie Swissy coming up. And we've got a bias of sell. Let's take a look. Aussie Swissy. Okay, another example. Take a look and see where price closed. Okay, so you've got this top of the range over here. Also looking pretty rangy. And then we can do this. It doesn't look as nice as the other one, does it? It's kind of messy, but it's fine. In terms of pivot points, you've got at this resistance here, monthly M1. Ooh, hold on a second, daily. Okay, I should look at the daily first. Yeah, I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm going to leave that alone. That's the profit-taking zone. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so we got some pound pairs and stuff. All right, cool. So that's what we do. Let's pay attention to Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi, from a daily perspective, we aren't looking. This is not a long-term trade, right? You're looking for an opportunity to take this down to the bottom of the range. It's not meant to be this is not hunting big game. This is just looking to see if you can scalp something. Okay. We can see if we can take this down to wherever, maybe down to the bottom of the range, 85 pips down here. You have to pay attention to where price is at the next market open. Now, a lot of people might be looking at this and saying, oh, look at that head and shoulder pattern. Remember, you are not preceded by a trend. It's just price messing about, but could still be resistance nonetheless. All you're looking for, lower low, lower high. Of course, if price shoots up, that's fine. Just continue looking for a lower low, lower high. Recognize the fact that right now you've got an overall bias of strong sell, and you're currently at resistance. Okay, and we've been bullish from the session before. So we're using this heat map in conjunction with our overall bias and marrying that with technicals. Why not? When we find ourselves in situations where we've got beautiful trends like this, when you've got price really moving up higher, and then where you go to every single day. You jump back into a Kiwi CAD, you see you're going to pull back, you buy. So you're going to pull back, you buy. You've got to pull back, you buy. But right now, markets aren't presenting those types of trends. So we have to be clever in terms of where we find opportunity. Either we decide to stay away, or we get smart with regards to quantitative analysis. Whatever you decide to do, stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for your time this year, and I look forward to more next year. Have an amazing New Year's. Stay safe, my friends. All the best. Ta-ta.